but often it's not necessary. It's more necessary to think more about that all the non-value added process that we have, we want to get rid of. So we base it on culture change. Okay, so where can it be used? Yeah, as I said before, it can be used in any business. But now I know now it's mainly used in lean manufacturing, but they have also started with health. I just talked to the Gold Coast Hospital about it, and I know that they have a lean thinking group that's trying to implement it. And also the government has also started. So it's starting. Okay, I just wanted to show you, I don't want to go into the tools because it's long, but I just want to show you, in Lean, there's different tools you can use to be able to change the culture. So first of all, you have to, what I talked about, define. And here you have to find out what's value added and non-value added. And you have to see if you have a continuous flow. And also the voice of the customer, that means you have to analyze what the customer wants. And the next one is that you want to understand your business, and you want also the people that works in the business to understand it. That means you, together with a team, you make a process flow, you describe the whole process. Or you make a value stream where you go in and say, okay, how long time does every process take? Or a spaghetti diagram, that means you walk the process. And then you analyze. I'm going to tell you a little more about some of them, that's sort of key ones. But 7 waste is that you go in and look at some waste. And then variation. It's funny enough, if you go up to Coles and buy 24 cans of Coke and go home and weigh them, they don't weigh the same. You think they do, but they don't. It's because it's really, really difficult, and it's so expensive to get every Coke to weigh the same for the manufacturer. So they have decided to be in a certain range. And often it's, I don't know if you heard about a bell curve. Often it's funny enough when you weigh them, you can draw sort of a bell curve. And they of course aim to get everybody the same, but it's not. And for example, when you're flying, you want their safety to be as close as possible to 100%. So their bell curve will be even higher. I don't know if you get that. Okay, so we also look at variation. How big is our variation in the business? And a fishbone diagram, I don't know if you guys have heard about that. That's where we look at what kind of input do we have that we put in the processes. And then we look at cycle time and takt time. And how do we improve it? We have a 5S. You probably have heard about 5S. No, okay, I'm going to explain it quickly a little later. And standardize, and a Kanban and one-piece flow. And then we have to sustain. We want to put in some preventive action so we make sure that nothing goes wrong. And we want to do lean order to make sure we still have the culture, and Kaizen, continuous improvement, and some key performance indicator. Okay, I think I'm just going to quickly go through this because some of them are, this one is not as important as others, but voice of the customer is, again, you know, the customer is the one that pays for it. So we really have to understand what they want. And often, I'm an engineer, and I have worked in so many different companies, and it's so interesting to see the difference that the architect has designed something, the engineer has made it, but the project manager understood it this way, but this is what the client wants. And it happens so many times. So that means we haven't really described what is it exactly the customer wants. And then we have a diagram how to get all the information that we need. And then the next thing is that what is a process? Everybody has to understand what a process is before we start analyzing the process in our business. And we know a process is a series of actions or steps taken to achieve an end goal. And it's not enough to just look at the process. We also have to look at the quality. For example, if you bake a cake, and you don't put the right ingredients in it, then the quality of the cake is not good. And if you have a bad oven, so you really have to look at the quality of the processes and the things you put in. And then you map the process. You find out what kind of inputs and processes you have. This is when you make a pizza or a pizza. And then you look at the inputs and outputs. And a value stream, the difference between a value stream and a process map is that you look at the lead time. How long time does it take? What is the process time? What is the waiting time? We want to get rid of waiting time. And then you map the information flow. How does that go? And then the inventory. We don't want inventory, that's too expensive. Okay, this is one of the probably most interesting one, is that when you start looking at waste. Waste is called muda in Japanese. Here, you take your waste classes on. You want to sort of try, waste can be a lot of things. And in Lean, they talk about 7 kinds of waste. I'm just going to show you. This is the 7 waste. It's overproduction, inventory, waiting, motion, transportation, rework, and over-processing. So that means we take our glasses on and look at and see if we have that, and we want to eliminate them as much as possible. But I believe there's another waste. There's all the know-how that's sitting in people that we are not using. But of course, that's difficult to identify what it is. Then the variation that I talked about before is that there's a variation in everything we do. But of course, we have to make sure that the variation is as less as possible. But it's quite expensive to get it close to 100%. So often as a business, you decide where you want to be. Okay, this is the 5S. This is a really simple tool where you go in and look at, first you sort, you set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. And I have an example I want to show you that gives you sort of an idea what it is. Okay, this could be your office, or this could be your warehouse. Or your desk, or Jim's desk.
She's seen my desk.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want you guys to see if you can find number 19, 21, and 26.
Got 26.
Up to 3 months beginning. Got 26.
Yeah.
Time for coffee break.
It took a little while, didn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to apply some 5S. So first of all, I want to get rid of all the things I don't need. I don't need the letters. So I'm just going to get rid of the letters. Now I only have the numbers back. But still it's a mess. So now I want to organize it. And then the next thing is I want to visualize it. That means when I go into my office or when I do something, I can see what it is. I don't have to run around. For example, I went into the garage this morning and I'm thinking, oh my God, my husband needs to do a 5S in our garage. So I'm putting in boxes, have certain things in certain where, so I can start finding out where things are and don't have to use time. And maybe I don't even have the things. And if you realize you're missing one. Okay, and then I want to clean. I want to make sure that it's organized and clean. So I clean every part. And then I want to standardize. I want to make sure that I have the right tools, and I want to make sure that the process is standardized. So here I have the same font for everyone. And then I realized I'm missing 21. So before and after. So if I tell you to find 19, 21, and 26 on the after, as you can see, it's quite easy. So that's 5S. It's really, really simple, but it's hard to implement. Okay, the next one is, I also think a quite important one, because often you often tend to correct instead of prevent. So when you try to sustain your lean, you want to prevent it going wrong. So you really think about preventive actions. Also when you have a plan for something. I want to show you somebody that definitely didn't think about preventing before they started their action.